Before we jump into today's show, I've got a really exciting announcement to make. The autumn cohorts for Start Your Podcast group program are now open. There are 5 dates between September and October, and it's a 6-week program that will get you launched before Christmas. So if podcasting was on your to-do list this year, if you really want to get your podcast up and done by the end of 2023, then come and join me for one of those cohorts and let's make it happen. I have a free masterclass available for you called Understanding the Power of Podcasting. You can go over to donnaeade.com/masterclass, watch the masterclass and get access to that enrollment. I hope to see you in one of the autumn cohorts very soon. That's donnaeade.com/masterclass. Let's get back to the show.
Just because you work in your mindset once doesn't mean you've
Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if you'd figured it all out after doing it once?
Yeah, wouldn't it? But as you know, you've got another level, another devil. So we need to continue work on our mindset.
You're listening to the Wedding Procast UK, the place to be if you are a UK wedding professional looking to grow and streamline your business. I'm your host, Donna Eade, 10-year wedding photography veteran and CEO at the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors. If you want to grow and streamline your business, this is the podcast for you. Make sure you hit subscribe where you listen or join our email list at www.spwv.co.uk. You'll find the sign up form at the bottom of every episode, and by doing so, you won't miss a thing. So let's jump into today's show. Welcome, Yvonne. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today because a lot of people are scared of showing up in their businesses, and that is something that you can help us with. So why don't we first off, just let me give you some space to introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do and how you help business owners.
Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much, Donna, for inviting me on to speak about what I do and to share my love of all things visibility with your audience. My name's Yvonne Phillip. I'm a success and visibility coach and consultant. So I support mainly entrepreneurs to get visible in their businesses and their careers. So that's about how they're showing up in their business so that they can build connections, authentic connections that ultimately lead to sales. Because that's what we want in business. We start our businesses because we're passionate about a cause, or we're passionate about a particular topic, or we're just skilled at doing something.
Yeah.
But often we don't know how to show up. And then we have that fear of selling. And we don't often have to sell. We often just need to be visible. So I help people with that confidence for them to step up with clarity, that confidence for them to show up in their business, and the credibility for them to stand out as an authority in the sector that they work in.
Oh, I love that. And you said one of my favorite words in there, credibility. It's one of the ones from with the society. That's what we help our members do, is to give them that third party endorsement, which it boosts their credibility. So I absolutely love that you work with that as well. And I think that in the wedding industry, it is so important to build that connection that you were talking about, because couples are really sort of investing in the people behind the businesses. It's not just buying a wedding dress. It's not just hiring a caterer, getting photos. It is an investment in this person who they don't know. So the more trust and connection you can build with them, the better. And part of that is visibility, which is why I'm so excited to jump into this conversation with you. Now, one thing I've got to ask you, because it's going to play on my mind, because people always get my surname wrong. And I'm wondering how many people put an S on the end of your surname.
Everyone. Whenever I spell my name, it's been a lifetime of torment. I get called Yvonne.
Oh, yes.
I got called Yvonne and then Phillips. So now I literally spell it Yvonne Phillip. No, I don't spell it. I just say double L, no S. I used to, when I was younger, I used to spell it out and have the patience. Now I'm like, no, Yvonne with a Y, Phillip with a double L, no S. And some of my family have the S on their name.
Oh.
And some of us don't. So it's obviously, you know, some families, when they were going to register their children, the officer just put an S on and it wasn't noticed. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bugbear in the family. But
oh my goodness, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I really do, because people say Eid wrong all the time, and there are different spellings of it. There are people that have an S on the end and it's Eids, and then there's other people that spell it double E-D-E. So it's always an interesting conversation when I speak to somebody new, whether they're actually going to attempt it or not. So yeah, sorry, that's a complete aside. I'm just like totally off track now. But anyway, jumping back into what we're here about, can you talk to us firstly about why it's actually important for us to show up in our businesses? So you touched on it in your introduction, but why is it important?
I mean, if you want to sustain your business, sustain and build what you're growing, bring more clients in, bring more revenue in, and be more fulfilled in your business, ultimately you need to get visible. The more people see you, the more likely you are to not be the best kept secret. I find a lot of my clients hide behind their products and services and then wonder why they're not bringing in any business. And ultimately, especially, in the wedding industry, you're a business, but you're supplying a consumer at one of the most important days of their life, their wedding day. They want it to be perfect, whether they're the bride, the groom, the mother-in-law. Everybody wants it to be perfect, and you're going to be working with these people over a period of time. So they have to like you. They have to want to spend time with you. Yes. They're going to have to want to invest their hard-earned money. And as you know, weddings don't come cheap nowadays, with your company. But ultimately, you are the company. You may have a limited company, it has its own identity, but whenever they talk about a particular wedding company, as the CEO, as the founder, as the head event planner, you are the person that is in the forefront of their mind that they're going to be working with. So you need to get visible to make sure that people know that you're there, so you're not the best kept secret. Let people build a rapport and like you. Ultimately, you don't spend money with people that you don't like.
No.
It's just not what you do. You know, that energetic exchange, which is buying and selling, doesn't come if you don't like somebody. You resent giving them that money. And they have to trust that you can do the job. So getting visible and educating people about what you do and how you do things is the most important thing in your business. And it goes alongside traditional marketing. So our traditional marketing of advertising and things like that, visibility is all part of that. But as an entrepreneur, they will buy from you. They're not buying from the company per se. They know that that's the company, but they're investing in you. They're buying from you. So you need to get from behind the camera in front of it and show people what you're all about.
And that's a really important part there. And I know it's kind of been said, but without being said. So I just want to make it clear, we're not talking about showing up on social media here and posting. We're talking about your face being seen by people. This is your personal visibility in your business, not your business being visible. So in that vein, Yvonne, what does showing up in your business look like? What could it look like?
Let's go back. Yeah, you mentioned something about you personally showing up in your business. And I work on the elevation of a personal brand.
Yeah.
So it's not just your logo, your colors, your fonts, and all those other things that absolutely look amazing as part of your assets, your photography, your photography, your videos, etc., etc. Who are you, and showing up as that authentic self. And your personal brand, I love this equation. It's what you say, audio, in writing, what you look like, and how you act is your personal brand. So when you're showing up, you need to look, say, and act in a way that's not only authentic to yourself, but it's going to touch a nerve, an emotional connection with your potential market. And in doing that, to do that, you need to show up.
Yeah.
You can't just put your products out there and say, look at this lovely wedding bouquet, or this lovely cake that I made, or whatever it is that you supply. Look at this fantastic event. They need to know, they want to see you, whether it's behind the scenes stuff, you've just finished a meeting, or whatever it is. They need to see the way that you work and feel that, you know what, I really trust this person. I really trust Donna with my wedding. And this is the person that I definitely want. And we get on really, really well together. Did that answer your question, or did I go off?
Yeah, no, it kind of both in there. And it's so important that when a couple are looking for a vendor, like let's take wedding planners, for example, there are hundreds of wedding planners out there. The thing that is going to make you unique is you, you know, and that's the important thing to remember. So when you're posting up a lovely picture of a venue that you've set up, or you're posting up a lovely picture of, you know, the bride and groom having their photos taken, or whatever it is that you're sharing on social media, if you don't come into that in some way, behind the scenes is a great option, or whether it's just an introduction post with your face, they don't know who you are. So they're not able to buy into you and what you do. They're just going, that's a really pretty venue. I might need to go and look at that for my wedding day.
Absolutely. And that unique point is sometimes what it is also one of the most important, because we're working in a crowded market. Everybody's online. You know, 99.9% of businesses are online.
Yeah.
So being unique and cutting through the noise is more important than ever, because we're all saying similar things. Everybody in a particular sector are saying similar things. So the only thing that makes you different from anybody else is you. Even if you're a twin, you're still unique to a certain, you know, to a certain extent. So for you to have a compelling offer that is unique and to allow you to stand out as something different that catches the eye, because that's ultimately, you've got 7 seconds on social media before someone's scrolling past.
Yeah.
If that. I think on social media, it's probably about 3 seconds. Yeah. In person, it's 7 seconds. So you really need to make an impact. And that doesn't need to be pushy. That doesn't need to be over the top. It just needs to be truly and authentically you, and communicated in a way that your audience is like, yeah, that's the person. That's the gentleman, that's the man, that's the company. Let me find out a little bit more about them. Yeah. And you need to stay consistent with your visibility as well. So you can't be here today, gone tomorrow, because people are going to forget about you and move on.
So true.
You know, when they want their wedding planner, their cake maker, their florist, they want it, you know, there and then. They want to know that you are accessible.
Yeah.
And can be contacted at any time.
That's very true. It's very true. And I actually, one of the Instagram gurus that I followed talked about 20 different ways that you could fill up your content calendar, and one of the things was an introduction. And she said, don't be afraid of introducing yourself again and again, because on social you're getting new followers all the time, and not everybody is seeing your posts. And I say that again and again to my audience, not everybody sees everything you put up. So you can do it every couple of weeks, you know, introduce yourself again and show up.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself every month if needs be, if your audience is growing. And if you don't feel comfortable, you know, going live or doing a video, you can just put a picture together, have a nice picture, and just introduce yourself with, you know, a little bio about you, make it relatable and connecting, and, you know, why you run your business, what's your passion, what's your experience, etc., and a little bit of personal information, you know, at the end, just so that they know that you have a life outside your business that they might want to connect with. You can do that on a monthly basis. And with regard to your, you know, people are often fearful of showing up and being visible, because I think that it takes a lot of time. And the work that I do supports people to not only have the strategy, but the style and the self-care to get visible. So it's working out a strategy and a timeline that is right for you and your lifestyle, so you don't get burnt out, you don't get overwhelmed, thus end up procrastinating, thus end up further in that with your head in the sand, than when we started, because those things happen. So what I always advise my clients with regard to social media is think about a strategy over a 3 months or 6 months, so 90-day to 180-day. And you can repeat that. Some of those posts can be repeated later on in the year. Obviously, as wedding planners, things that, you run seasonally. So, your busiest season is over the spring and summer months. So there might be certain things that you talk about during those months and different things that you talk about in the autumn or winter when you're trying to get more bookings for the following year and things like that. So you can actually map out a strategy for you. And once you've done it once or twice, you can just repurpose those, at least the written content. You might change the photo or the video, but you can repurpose that, thus making life a lot easier for yourself as you go along.
Yes.
In addition to that, you can slowly start getting yourself out of that comfort zone, because I know so many people that are fearful of other people's opinions, what they look like. They don't like their voice or their accent. So many different reasons and blocks to them getting visible. It's better to start before you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do that, as you grow your confidence, your actual visibility is also going to grow. So when you're ready and you're fully confident, by that time, people are ready. You've warmed them up.
Yes.
As it were.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, if you're not visible at all, they're not warming them up at all. They're seeing pretty cakes and pretty flowers, and pretty dresses, or whatever the case may be, but they're not really getting that connection with you. The more you show up and they see you over a 3 month or a 6 month period, when they're ready, they're going to be like, that's the person for me.
Yeah.
And once you're, especially with weddings, once you're married, let's hope they stay together for at least a year. They don't need to get married again. So they're probably not following you, but you're bringing in new people into your world, and they're receiving the same information as the previous people did.
Yes. Yeah. And that is very true. And although, people will continue to follow you because they do, but they're not going to be actively, buying from you at that point. So yeah, if you're repeating yourself, it's okay, because we do have in the wedding industry a cycle of people coming through that are actually going to buy from us, and we have a finite amount of time to get them in and buying from us. So that is a perfect point to have made.
Make sure you repurpose your content to make life easier for you, less stressful and less overwhelming.
Yeah. Now, we spoke before we jumped onto the recording, we did speak about how, I said in the wedding industry, we're all behind the scenes and we don't want the spotlight. And so it's very difficult for a lot of us to get out in front of our cameras or video cameras or, in front of our cakes and things like that. And you talked about us all wearing black and sort of blending into the background on a wedding day. And that's how it should be. But when you're trying to get new clients, you need to be front and center. So can you give us 3 things that we can do to prep ourselves for putting ourselves out there? I know you said we've got to start before we're ready, but what can we do to sort of make ourselves a little bit more comfortable about starting?
Okay, the first thing I would say is work on your mindset around getting visibility and your fears of getting, visible. I have a pre-recorded workshop called the Mindset Makeover that I give to people, just with a couple of exercises that they can do to shift that dial on their anxiety and their fear of getting visible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing I would say that you need to work on, is your mindset around getting visible. And literally starting before you're ready, that piece. The next thing I would say is get clear on your message. What is your marketing message to the world? What is the thing that you want every potential client of yours to know about your business, about you, about the way that you work, about the benefits to them? And be really, really clear in a paragraph or 2 of what that is. Because then anytime you're speaking, that information is always at the forefront. So it stops all the I don't know what I'm speaking about. Because you have those messages already in your head, and you know that is something that could come out of your mouth at any one time in any given conversation to a client, promoting your business, getting, visible on podcast or whatever, in somebody else's group, whatever that may be. Be really, really clear on your message. And that's where I start with all my visibility clients, is what is your message? And does that resonate with your ideal client? because you could have a message and then it just literally goes right over your client's head. If that's the case, you've missed a touch point.
Yeah.
So being clear on your message is the next thing. And these are all things that you should do. These are things that you should do even before you start getting visible. Make sure you have your messaging very, very clear in your mind about what that could be. The next thing I would think you would do is an assessment on yourself in terms of what is the best way for me to get visible. Is it a podcast? Is it writing a blog? Is it video? In terms of your pillar content, what are the big bulk contents that you're going to be working towards? Once you've done that, that pillar content then becomes the basis of your whole visibility strategy, and other bits of content, etc., can come out from that. I don't think working on your branding is something that you necessarily need to do initially. You might, think about, I like these colors, etc., etc. But in terms of building a whole brand, you can start with something that you do by yourself, but then later on think about your brand. When you have established your business, established your clients, you know what your clients like, you know the message, you've tweaked your messaging a couple of times, and you're now really, really confident, because once you put that investment in terms of branding, which can be anything from £1,000 to £10,000, if not more, you kind of stuck with it for a little while.
Yeah.
So you're stuck. So, you don't need to go down that. You can wait a year or two, but what you do need is some really good high quality pictures, and you can take those on your phone. For years, I just did mine on my smartphone, but I knew the value, having worked in the modeling and creative industries, I knew the value of having professional photography and video done. So I made that investment, and that's kind of like where I start. I'm like, okay, if you don't feel comfortable having full video trailers and things like that, let's just at least get some really good pictures of you that speak to your audience and tell dynamic stories just by the way that you're dressed, or what you're doing, or your location, or the lighting and things like that. So think about your messaging, working on your mindset, and your mindset is a continual work in progress. Just because you work in your mindset once doesn't mean you've
Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful if you'd figured it all out after doing it once?
But as you know, you've got another level, another devil. So we need to continue work on our mindset, sort your messaging out, then getting some good quality photography. That's something that I love working with clients on photo shoots and things like that.
I would say that we're very lucky in the wedding industry, because of course we're attached to a lot of photographers, and there is, this ability to do an exchange. A cake maker could offer to do their child's birthday cake in exchange for a photography session.
Absolutely.
So you can work together and make that happen at a lesser cost, which is an advantage, I think, of being in the wedding industry over some others. So we do have access to a lot of very good
So once you've worked out your strategy and the different methods that you're going to use to get visible, because I would advise you, don't follow everybody. Just because Donna has a podcast doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a podcast if it's not aligned with the way that you communicate, because you're going to end up hating rocking up and interviewing people or thinking about topics. If you're not, I'm not a good writer, so I'm a video girl. Put a camera in front of me, I'll be talking for days. Doesn't mean I'm confident, it just means I know what I'm talking about in terms of my, and I've worked in industry, so I know certain things that can help me propel my visibility strategy. So find out what's right for you, the strategy that's right for you, the methods that are right for you as well. I think that's 3. Thinking about if there's anything else. Obviously there's plenty of other ways that you can get visible, your credibility with PR and books, but I wouldn't even think about doing those types of things initially, because it's just going to overwhelm you. Wait till your business is established, you've got a routine going before you start thinking about doing those other things.
Oh, that's so good. And then that kind of really leads us on to this sort of final question that I've got, that is, how do we start showing up? You've said don't worry about the PR, let's leave that for down the line a little bit. What are some of the things that we could do as our first steps into getting out of our comfort zone and pushing that box and and making ourselves a bit more visible? What would you suggest?
Yeah. So I think the first thing you need to do is obviously make a commitment to yourself and to your business that you are going to get, you're going to get visible and you're going to start educating people. Don't see it as selling. See it as you're providing an education. You're teaching people about your product and service and why they need it. I think that the first thing that they need to do, work on their mindset, do an analysis on yourself in terms of visibility. What are my yeses and nos? What do I like doing? What do I not like doing? As if you don't like video, not that it doesn't make sense showing up on video, because video is the most powerful communication tool in terms of visibility. But if it's not your jam initially, start with something else. And as you build your confidence, you then might be more comfortable. Or start with just doing short lives or reels and things like that. Reels are brilliant because you can be silly, you can be and they're really short and sharp. But you've got to lean into that discomfort, because not getting visible is just going to keep your business where it is at the moment, and nobody wants to stay stagnant. We want to sustain ourselves, but we also want to grow as well. Also think about your style and the way that you're showing up in terms of the way you move, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. Because as I mentioned before, 7 seconds to create a great first impression. People just scroll past you for no apparent reason other than you didn't grab their interest. So think about the way that you are showing up. I don't want you to overcomplicate things, but if you can't afford to work with, a stylist or somebody that does that kind of visibility work like myself, make sure that every time you show up, live, video, real, whatever it may be, on your website, in person, that you are feeling fabulous. Because that ultimately is going to also build your confidence to know, you know what, girl, I feel good in this. And you're going to want to talk about what you do, as long as you've got your message clear. And you can just roll it all off the tongue.
Yeah, that's so important. It's so important. And I always say, like, do you know what I've said before now? I think it was in an episode a few weeks back that I said it's so funny because I never planned on putting my podcast on YouTube until my friend, who is a money mindset coach, turned around and said, Donna, why are you not on YouTube? It's one of the biggest search engines. And I was just like, because I chose to do a podcast so I could do it in my pajamas. And she went, are you in your pajamas now? We were recording a podcast together. And I was like, no. And she was like, well, then I was like, yeah, but I'm on an interview. I'm not going to wear my pajamas. But when I'm doing my solo shows, I could wear my pajamas. And I don't put makeup on. It doesn't mean anything to me. Like a little bit of lip balm. Just to shine the lips.
I did that just before I came on. I was like, oh,
me too. But I don't wear makeup because I don't feel comfortable wearing it anymore. Like when I was younger, I used to wear it a lot and I don't feel so comfortable wearing it anymore. So I don't wear it, but it doesn't make me feel any less confident on camera. And I think it's important that people like us that don't wear makeup are happy to show up without it, because it makes other people feel like, oh, so I don't have to, it's not this big production just to get myself, I haven't got to like curl my hair and put a load of makeup on. And, it's about what you feel comfortable in, and showing up can be difficult. And the more comfortable you are in what you're wearing and in your own skin, the easier it is. But, yeah, some fantastic tips in there, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Where can people find out more about you? So if they want to reach out to you afterwards.
Thank you so much. So my website is www.yvonnephillip with a double L, no S.com. And I also have a Facebook group, and you can find that at the Success Studio. If you want to go and find me first, I've got links on social media. On Instagram, I'm Yvonne Phillip, the Success Stylist. So come and find me there. I also have a few freebies. If you want to get over that mindset block and start working on your mindset, I have a free video. I'll send it to you so that you can pop it into the description if if that's
absolutely
okay with you. And people can, you can start working on that mindset piece to get over your fear of visibility. And I have also a free messaging masterclass coming up. I'm not sure when this podcast is going to come out, but every now and then I do a little introduction to me, and I have a free messaging masterclass, which is the start of my program but I'm giving the masterclass free so people can sort of like see, okay, they just need to get their message right, and then they can build on things. And if they want to stay on the program, they can, should I say. And if they don't, that's fine.
Yeah. I love that. No, they can't. If they want to stay, they can't.
They can't stay.
No, don't want them.
Doing it all for the love.
Oh,
no,
dear,
if they want
great.
to stay, you can. But it's like a plain stay.
Yeah. So if that's coming up, I have got a date in mind. I don't know it off the top of my head when this episode's coming out, but if that masterclass is available, guys, I'll make sure that there is a link to it in the show notes. So make sure you head to the show notes for this episode, and if the link is there, it will be there ready for you. And I will put all of Yvonne's other links into the show notes as well, so you can go and grab some of those freebies and connect with her. So if you are wanting to get more visible in your business, guys, you need to work on that mindset, be clear on your messaging, and do a little bit of a self-assessment, and that will get you started. Thank you so much for your time today, Yvonne. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.